Hello everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84, and what the video is about today, what I'm going to show you, is an attempt to see if I can manage to save my grafted avocado, Mexicola Grande, or Grande. You'll have been aware, if you've seen my videos, of the problems I've had with this. There's a band of rot going around the stem about 1.5 inches above the graft, and the graft's also not looking very good. I painted them temporarily with a barrier paint to see if that would protect them, but what I'm going to do today is actually take this out and have a look at the roots, see what compost it was in. I don't necessarily think it's necessarily a root rot problem, although that could be part of the problem. I think there's other issues may have caused this, not least of which is a poor quality graft, which may not be getting the nutrients up to the main stem properly, but there is still some green up there. I've taken one shoot off in the hope that I could graft it onto another plant, which I've had a go at doing, which we'll obviously find out the results in the next few weeks. But basically I'm going to transfer this. It looks to me like it's in quite I thought this was going to be in quite a soil type mix, but I think it's actually got quite a lot of compost in it. And one of the problems with avocados is they suffer really badly from root rot caused by low oxygen levels. They really need a highly oxygenated mix, but more importantly they need a mix that doesn't break down after 6 months, because if it starts to break down because it's got too much organic material in, it then starts to compact in the pot, and you still end up with what was a healthy looking avocado end up looking like a dead avocado. So I've got some interesting things to try on this one. I've got nothing to lose as the plant's on its way out. I'm just trying something a little bit radical. So the first thing I'm going to do is move it out of this dreadful tall tree pot, and I'm actually going to try a fabric pot, a fabric bag on it for a change, rather than one of those air pots with the funny hedgehog holes on. I thought I'd go for a fabric bag, and the mix I'm going to try on it is basically going to have almost no organic matter in it at all that could actually break down, or at least will not break down very quickly. So what I'm going to use in the mix, and this is all, a lot of it's experimental for me, I've got some large particle bonsai pumice. Now this isn't the smaller stuff, they didn't have the one I wanted available, which is a bit smaller, so this is nice big particles of pumice, which aren't a bad thing because they should allow a lot more air into the compost. I've got some expanded clay particles that will hold some moisture but still allow water to pass through, and lots of aeration. I'm going to try some rice hulls, because these are basically pure cellulose and apparently don't compost down at all. I'm not going to put any bark in the mix. I've got some perlite, so I'm going to put 1 part perlite. I've got some coarse sand here, which I haven't got a lot of, and I've got some John Innes number 3, which is more of a loam and sand based topsoil rather than an organic matter containing one. This is basically sort of sands, peat and some topsoil mixed in with nutrients. So I'm going to mix these all together and try. The initial mix I'm going to try is 1 part of each and see what it feels like when I've finished. And I've also got some potting grit, which I might incorporate as well depending on the weight, because one of the problems with these sort of mixes is they're very heavy and I need to be able to move the plant. So I'm going to just pause the video while I mix some up, and we'll have a look at it and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is how the mix looks now. I would, incidentally, if I'd had any moss peat, Irish moss peat, I would have put in 1 part of moss peat as well, because that takes a long time to break down, and avocados do like that, and they like to have a slightly acidic soil. Most of this is quite neutral, so it won't be too acidic, but it won't be alkaline either. I'm hoping it's going to be a really nice free draining mix that still holds some moisture, but most importantly lets the roots breathe. Now if it seems to work for my very sickly avocado and it shows signs of at least not dying back anymore and possibly even shooting out new growth, I will probably use something like this mix for my other avocados, because I said they should be able to stay in it for a long time in the pots without any root rot. And I think the other thing to bear in mind is this compost might actually be better in our country for citrus than a 5-1-1 mix, particularly if I used 1 part moss peat as well to give that little bit of extra acidity, because I think this compost is less likely to break down than the 5-1-1. Although my citrus mostly look okay, some of them are not doing very well in that mix, so I'm tempted to perhaps try this. Although it works out very expensive by the time you buy all the materials, I might be tempted to try this on a couple of the sicklier citrus and see what happens. So let me get on with taking the avocado out, and then we'll come back to the video. Okay, so it's job done. I'm not going to lie, I was very disappointed. The roots basically had rotted away. There's almost nothing left, just a little bit of root left on the stem. Obviously the stem and the base and the top of the roots will be storing some energy, but from experience, when the roots have gone like this, the plant normally dies from the top, which means that the chance of this grafted section surviving are probably very, very slim. Nevertheless, I've repotted it. I've fed it with, I've still watered it because you've got to settle the soil around the roots, and I've used a heavy drench of Seasol because sometimes that reinvigorates them. I've also sprayed the plant with copper fungicide because if this is fungal disease here rather than being caused by the root rot, some of these blackened areas, if this is anthracnose or some other fungal disease, then that needs to be dealt with as well. So I've given the plant a drench with a copper fungicide, which will also probably run down the stem into the roots. So really I've done all I can do to see if I can save the plant. I mean, obviously one day I might be able to buy another Mexicola to replace this one. I suspect that the plant probably has been overwatered at the nursery, to be honest, and the roots were already starting to deteriorate, because it didn't look, the top of it, as I said before, the top of the plant looked very pale and off colour to how I'd expect a healthy grafted plant to look. So it may well be that the roots were compromised. Now I might, if it shows signs of recovery lower down and gets perhaps shoots come out, I may let them grow, because what tends to happen is the new growth obviously can photosynthesize and will start to produce sugars and energy for the plant, and that will help feed the roots, but also it may draw the sap higher up the stem. So as long as there's still some sign of green in the grafted area, if the plant does recover or start to recover, it's possible that the grafted area might not die. I'm not going to do anything more with it. I could cut it off here and just leave it with 2 inches, but the chances are that will get infected because there's no sap coming up the plants and it would die back. So I may as well leave this whole section here and see if this new soil mix makes any difference at all to the health of the roots. Worst comes to worst, if the rootstock recovers, I can at least use it to graft a Fuerte or Julienne or another variety onto it. So if I can save the rootstock, it won't be wasted. It's probably a Zutano, but obviously I was hoping to save my Mexicola Grande graft, but let's wait and see what happens. We'll just be patient. I'm going to put it in the summer house to give it some extra warmth, but it'll be sort of further back so at least it gets a bit of shade, because you don't want the stems getting burnt. And if there's any sign of recovery in the future, obviously I'll let all my avocado enthusiastic followers keep them advised, and you can keep an eye out for any updates. So thanks for watching. please give me a thumbs up. Welcome to share the video if you think any parts of it will be useful to anybody, particularly the mix I've decided to try and use. Please subscribe to my channel and remember to click on the bell if you'd like updates on new videos when they come out. I'll catch up with you all soon. Brett out for now.